Becky was overjoyed by the news of her pregnancy. After years of waiting and suffering, she finally had hope again. She thanked God every day, holding onto the words of the little boy from the orphanage. She promised herself that this time she would not take anything for granted. However, deep inside her heart, she could not forget the warning: the enemy is close. The next day, something unexpected happened. Becky was at work when a tall elderly man walked into her office. He was holding a Bible in his hands. He greeted her, took a deep breath and said,
You must pray, Becky. There are secrets around you that must be revealed. There is an enemy close to you, pretending to love you, but secretly working against you. If you do not pray, this person will succeed in bringing sorrow into your home again.
Becky's heart started beating fast.
What should I do?
She asked, feeling afraid.
Embark on 21 days of midnight prayer.
The man instructed.
Ask God to expose every hidden enemy in your life. During this time, do not share your personal life with anyone. Be careful who you trust.
That night, Becky told her husband, Desmond, everything. He listened carefully and held her hands.
We will pray together, my love.
He said.
God will reveal the truth to us.
At exactly midnight, Becky and Desmond knelt beside their bed and began to pray. The first few nights nothing happened. One evening, Becky sat on the veranda enjoying the cool breeze. She gently rubbed her belly, smiling to herself. Ruth walked by and sat beside her.
You look happy, Becky,
Ruth said with a fake smile.
Is there good news you would like to share?
Becky felt a sudden strange feeling in her chest, like something was stopping her from speaking. She wanted to tell Ruth about the pregnancy, but the words refused to leave her mouth. She hesitated, then smiled and said,
No, Ruth, I'm just enjoying the evening.
Ruth gave her a long look but said nothing.
Alright then, I will see you later,
she said and walked away. Becky watched Ruth leave, feeling uneasy.
Why did she suddenly feel uncomfortable sharing her joy with Ruth? Was she imagining things?
Becky began to have strange, frightening dreams. In one dream, she saw herself walking through a dark forest. Suddenly, she heard footsteps beside her. When she turned, she saw a masquerade, a masked figure dressed in strange clothes chasing after her. Becky ran as fast as she could, but the masquerade kept getting closer.
Who are you?
Becky screamed in the dream, but the masquerade did not answer. It just kept running after her. Then on the 21st night, something changed. In her dream, Becky was running as usual, but this time, instead of running away, she stopped and turned to face the masquerade.
Remove your mask and show me your face,
she shouted. The masquerade froze. It started shaking as if afraid. Slowly, it removed its mask. Becky gasped loudly. It was Ruth. Becky sat on her bed, shaking with shock, unable to believe what she had just seen. The dream still played in her mind like a movie. Ruth, her best friend, the woman she had helped, the one she had treated like a sister, was the enemy all along. That morning, Becky acted normal. She greeted Ruth as usual and even smiled at her. But inside, she was watching. Ruth, on the other hand, noticed a change in Becky. She sensed that something was different. Becky was not as open with her as before. She was no longer sharing details about her life. Ruth started feeling uneasy.
Did Becky suspect anything?
She wondered. A few days later, Becky felt a strong craving for fruit. She wanted bananas and oranges. Since she was heavily pregnant, she asked her maid to go to the market to buy some. As the maid was leaving, she bumped into Ruth, who quickly took her to a supermarket. Ruth handed her a bunch of bananas and some oranges.
Take this to your madam. No need to pay.
Ruth said in a sly smile. The maid happily took the fruit and rushed home.
Madam, here are your fruits.
She said, placing them on the kitchen counter. Becky, who had just finished her prayer, was about to reach for the fruit when she suddenly heard a knock at the door. She opened it to find Ruth's first son standing there, looking tired and sad.
Why aren't you in school, dear?
Becky asked kindly.
My exam was early this morning, so I left home without eating.
The boy said, rubbing his stomach.
Auntie, I'm very hungry. There is no food in my mother's kitchen.
Becky quickly shook her head.
Come in, my dear. Go to the kitchen and eat some fruits before the maid prepares a meal for you.
The boy happily ran to the kitchen. He picked up the bananas and oranges and ate them up quickly.
Thank you, Auntie Becky.
He said with a full stomach before heading back home. That night, something terrible happened. Ruth's son went to sleep as usual, but when morning came, he did not wake up. Ruth screamed when she saw her lifeless son lying on the bed.
No, my son, wake up.
She cried, shaking him, but he did not move. Tears poured from her eyes as she fell to the ground, sobbing.
What have I done?
She wailed. In that moment, Ruth realized something. The fruit she had poisoned for Becky had ended up in her own son's stomach. The evil she had planted for Becky had backfired on her. As Ruth cried in deep sorrow, Becky and Desmond held the news and rushed to Ruth's house. Becky felt heartbroken for the boy.
Oh, Ruth.
She whispered, her eyes filled with sadness. But as Becky looked at Ruth, she saw something change in her eyes: fear, regret, and realization. Ruth knew she had done something terrible, but now she was paying the price for her evil deed. Becky sat in her living room, watching Ruth from a distance. Ruth had been crying non-stop since the day her son passed. She barely ate, barely spoke, and barely left her room. Becky wanted to comfort her, but something didn't feel right. That night, Becky and Desmond sat together, deep in thought.
My love,
Desmond began.
I don't feel comfortable with Ruth living here anymore.
Becky looked at him, surprised.
Desmond, she just lost her son. This is not the right time to send her away.
Desmond sighed.
I know, Becky, but something is not right. Our baby is almost here, and I don't feel safe with Ruth living in this house.
Becky shook her head.
Ruth is my friend. She has nowhere to go. We can't just throw her out while she is grieving.
I'm not saying we should abandon her. We will still support her, pay for her rent, and take care of her children. But she cannot stay here anymore.
Becky frowned, her heart heavy.
Please, Desmond, let's wait a little longer. She just lost her child. Let's give her more time to grieve.
Desmond studied Becky's face and sighed.
Alright, my love, but promise me, after some times, we will talk to her.
Becky nodded. She had no idea how she would break such news to Ruth. Months passed. Becky finally gathered the courage to talk to Ruth one evening. She found her sitting alone in the backyard, staring into space. Becky sat beside her and took a deep breath.
Ruth,
Becky began gently.
I want to talk to you about something important.
Ruth turned to her face blank.
What is it?
Becky swallowed hard.
Desmond and I have been thinking. We want to support you, but we feel it's best if you move into a new house. We will pay your rent and make sure your children continue their education. You want me to leave?
Ruth asked quietly. Becky sighed.
Ruth, it's not that we don't care about you. We love you and your children, but I'm about to have my baby, and Desmond wants us to have our privacy. We will never stop helping you, but we believe this is best for everyone.
Ruth lowered her head. Becky couldn't see the look on her face. After a long silence, Ruth finally spoke.
I understand, Becky. You have done enough for me. I will leave.
Becky let out a breath she didn't know she was holding.
Thank you, Ruth. I will personally find a good house for you and pay for everything.
Ruth gave a small smile,
That's very kind of you.
but deep inside, she was boiling with anger. She has lost everything. First her husband, then her son, and now Ruth wanted to push her away. She would not allow it. As Becky walked away, relieved that the conversation went well, Ruth's face darkened. She had another plan. Becky thought she was helping a friend, but in reality, she had just awakened an enemy. Ruth sat alone in her room, deep in thought. Becky's words kept ringing in her ears. Ruth, we will pay for your rent and continue supporting you, but you have to move out. Ruth clenched her fist, her eyes burning with anger.
So, Becky wants to abandon me now. After everything. After making me lose my only son.
She thought bitterly. She shook her head, her heart filling with hatred.
I don't blame you, Becky. I blame myself for accepting to live in the boys' quarters like a beggar while you enjoying luxuries in a mansion. A life I always wanted while growing up. But you can't eat your cake and have it. You can't have it all, Becky. If I can't live that life, you won't enjoy it either.
Ruth stood up and paced around the room, her thoughts growing darker. She mimicked Becky's voice mockingly.
You want me to leave because you are expecting a baby soon?
She let out a cold laugh.
You can't have that baby, Becky. It will end up just like the others.
Ruth's face twisted with evil determination. No,
I won't stop at just your baby this time. I will make sure you suffer more than I ever did. This time, I will make you a widow, Becky. You and your husband will pay for making me suffer.
late that night when everyone was asleep, Ruth quietly sneaked out of the house. She wrapped a black scarf around her head and walked into the dark street. Her heart was pounding, but she didn't stop. She knew exactly where she was going. After walking for a while, she arrived at a small dirty hut deep in the forest. The place smelled of herbs and smoke. Strange charm hung at the entrance, and the sound of a small drum echoed from inside. She hesitated for a second, then took a deep breath and entered. An old man with a long white beard sat on the wooden stool, grinding some strange-looking leaf. His eyes were red, and he didn't look surprised to see her.
I know you would come back.
The herbalist said without looking at her. Ruth knelt before him.
Great one, I need your help again.
She said urgently. The herbalist chuckled.
So, the first punishment wasn't enough. I helped you make Becky lose her pregnancies and baby before. I caused the accident. What do you want this time?
Ruth's voice was cold.
This time, I don't just want to destroy our baby. I want to make her a widow. Her husband must die.
The herbalist nodded slowly.
So much anger in you, woman. But you must understand, once you start down this path, there is no turning back.
I don't care.
Ruth snapped.
I want Becky to suffer.
The herbalist smiled wickedly and reached into a black pot. He pulled out a small charm.
Take this.
He said, handing it to her.
Tonight, when the clock strikes midnight, step outside and call their names 7 times. After that, make your wish. Whatever you say will surely come to pass.
Ruth grabbed the charm tightly, her eyes shining with dark excitement.
I will do exactly as you say.
The herbalist raised a finger.
But be careful. The spirit do not take kindly to those who misuse their power. If your heart is not strong enough, the punishment will come back to you.
Ruth coughed.
I fear nothing. I will get what I want.
The herbalist gave her a long, strange look but said nothing more. Ruth stood up, thanked him and left quickly. As she walked back home, she clenched the charm tightly, a wicked smile on her lips.
Tonight, Becky's happiness will end forever.
She whispered to herself. The night was quiet and the air was still. Becky and Desmond sat on the couch, their Bible open in front of them. They had decided to pray exactly at midnight. They held hands and began to read the Bible, preparing their hearts for prayer. Meanwhile, in the boys' quarters, Ruth sat on her bed, clenching the charm tightly. Her heart was heavy with anger and bitterness.
Becky, you think you have won? No, you will feel pain tonight.
She had been waiting all night. The moment the clock struck 12 a.m., Ruth stepped outside in the darkness, holding the charm. The moon shone brightly above her. Slowly, she lifted the charm to the sky, just as the herbalist had instructed. Her lip trembled as she began chanting.
Becky, Desmond, I call your name 7 times. Becky, Desmond, Becky, Desmond.
She called out, her voice shaking and powerful. As she spoke, the air around her grew cold. The night suddenly became darker, but Ruth was too consumed by hatred to stop. Inside the boys' quarters, Ruth's eldest daughter, Amara, woke up. She had been having a strange dream about her mother. Her throat was dry, so she got up to drink water. As she walked past the window, she heard something strange, her mother's voice. Curious, she stepped outside and froze. She could not believe what she was seeing. Her mother was standing under the moonlight, raising something in the air and calling Auntie Becky and Uncle Desmond's name. Amara's heart pounded. Something was wrong. She stepped closer and shouted.
Mama, what are you doing?
Ruth turned sharply, shocked to see her daughter. Amara, go back inside, she hissed. But Amara didn't move. She had seen enough.
Mama, are you trying to harm Auntie Becky?
She asked, her voice shaking. Ruth's eyes darkened with anger.
You don't understand, Amara. Becky took everything from me. She must suffer. Mama, stop this, please.
Suddenly, a strong wind blew through the compound. The charm slipped from Ruth's hand and fell to the ground with a loud thud. Immediately, a thick black smoke rose from the charm and rushed towards Amara.
Mama.
Amara screamed, but before Ruth could do anything, the smoke wrapped around Amara like a shadow. She gasped, shocked, and collapsed to the ground. Ruth's eyes widened in horror.
Amara, no.
She screamed. Then before Ruth could react, a strange force hit her body like lightning. She screamed as pain tore through her. Her legs stiffened, her arms froze, and her eyes went completely blind. Ruth fell to the ground, shaking violently. She could no longer move. Back in the main house, Becky and Desmond were deep in prayer. Suddenly, their maid burst into the sitting room, breathless and terrified. Madam, sir, something terrible is happening at the boys' quarters, she cried. Becky and Desmond jumped up. What is it? Desmond asked. The man stammered. It's Ruth and her daughter. I don't know what's happened, but something is wrong. Becky and Desmond rushed outside. As they approached the boys' quarters, they stopped in shock. Ruth was lying on the ground shaking, her eyes wide open but unseeing. Her daughter Amara was lifeless beside her. Becky gasped.
Oh my God.
She was about to rush to help, but Desmond grabbed her hand.
No, Becky, don't go near.
Ruth's last daughter, Chinwe, has just woken up from sleep. She ran outside, rubbing her eyes. When she saw her sister lying still, she screamed. Chinwe clung to Becky, sobbing. Ruth's body was stiff. She was paralyzed and blind. Tears poured down her face. I have sinned, Ruth wailed. I have destroyed my life. But now, the loud cries had drawn the attention of neighbors. People gathered at Becky's house, whispering and murmuring. Finally, Ruth spoke. Through heavy sobs, she confessed everything. I was jealous. I was greedy. I hated Becky for having what I didn't. I wanted to destroy her. I used charm. I caused her pain. I killed our unborn babies before. And tonight, I wanted to take her husband too. Gasps filled the air. Some people covered their mouths in shock, while others shook their head in disappointment. Becky's heart was heavy. She couldn't believe that Ruth, her childhood friend, had wished her so much evil. I was blinded by envy, Ruth cried. Now I have lost everything. My son is gone. My daughter is gone. I am blind and crippled. Becky, I don't deserve it, but please forgive me. Tears rolled down Becky's cheeks. She was deeply hurt, but she has always learned that forgiveness was a powerful weapon. She took a deep breath and said softly, Ruth, I forgive you. At those words, Ruth let out a final painful cry, and then she took her last breath. She was gone. The crowd gasped. Some shook their head, while others wiped away tears. Chinwe clung to Becky, sobbing, Please, Auntie Becky, don't send me away. Becky hugged the little girl tightly. I will never send you away, my dear, she whispered. The battle was finally over. The house was quiet again. The darkness that once surrounded Becky's home was gone, but even in the silence, the weight of all that had happened remained heavy in Becky's heart. Ruth was gone. Her wickedness had led her to destruction. She had allowed jealousy to turn her into a monster. In the end, she paid the price for her evil deeds. Weeks passed, and Becky's pregnancy reached its final stage. She was now 9 months pregnant, and the day of delivery was close. Becky slept peacefully for the first time in a long while. In the middle of the night, a sharp pain woke her up. "Oh!" she gasped, holding her stomach. Desmond jumped up.
What is it?
"It's time. The baby is coming." Desmond wasted no time. He quickly grabbed Becky's hospital bag and helped her into the car. The driver sped to the hospital while Becky breathed heavily, holding Desmond's hands.
You are strong, my love.
Desmond whispered, wiping the sweat from her forehead. At the hospital, the nurses stretched her into the delivery room. The labor pains were intense, but Becky kept praying in her heart. Lord, you have brought me this far. Please let me deliver safely. After hours of struggle, Becky gave birth to triplets. Tears of joy rolled down her cheeks. The nurse carefully wrapped the babies in soft blankets and placed them in Becky's hands. She looked at them, her heart bursting with love and gratitude. Desmond rushed into the room. The moment he saw the three beautiful babies, he fell to his knees.
God, thank you.
Tears rolled down his face as he kissed Becky's forehead.
You did it, my love.
Becky smiled weakly. No, Desmond. God did it. News of Becky's safe delivery spread quickly. Friends and family gathered to celebrate the miracle. There was dancing, singing and rejoicing. Even Becky's in-laws, who had stood by her through everything, wept with joy. As Becky looked at her babies, she remembered the dream of the little boy in the orphanage, the boy who gave her a Bible and 2 baskets of fruit. She finally understood. The prophecy had come true. She had gone through storms, but now she was holding her greatest blessing. As she sat in bed, watching her baby sleep, she whispered.
Thank you, Lord, for proving that goodness always wins.
The house was filled with joy. Becky's triplets were a blessing, a testimony, and a proof that God never fails. Desmond could not stop smiling as he carried his 2 sons in his hands.
My warriors.
He called them proudly. He kissed their tiny head and then turned to Becky, who was holding their daughter.
And this is our princess.
He said with pride. Becky looked down at her baby girl and smiled.
She will be strong, just like her mother.
She whispered. After years of pain, she was finally at peace. But even in the middle of all the joy, Becky knew there was one last thing she had to do. A few days later, Becky sat with Desmond in their living room. The babies were asleep and the house was quiet.
My love,
Becky said.
there is something I want to do.
Desmond looked at her curiously.
What is it?
Becky sighed.
It's Chinwe, Ruth's last daughter. I want to officially adopt her. I want her to grow up in a home filled with love, not pain.
Desmond nodded, squeezing her hand.
I know you will say that, and I give you my full support.
The next morning, Becky called Chinwe and sat her down.
My dear,
Becky began gently.
I know you miss your mother, and I know things have been hard for you.
Chinwe nodded, her eyes filled with tears.
I miss her, Auntie Becky, but I also know she did bad things.
Becky wiped the girl's tears.
She made mistakes, but that is not your fault. And I don't want you to ever feel alone. From today, you are my daughter. I will love you, care for you, and raise you as my own.
Chinwe gasped.
Really?
Becky nodded.
Yes, my dear.
Tears rolled down Chinwe's cheeks, but this time they were tears of joy. She hugged Becky tightly.
Thank you, Auntie Becky. I will never disappoint you.
Becky smiled and kissed her forehead. You are safe now, my child. Weeks passed. Becky and Desmond's home became a place of joy, love, and peace. Becky looked back at her joining and realized something important. Life is full of battles, but in the end, goodness always wins. She had been betrayed, hurt, and almost destroyed, but she had also been protected, blessed, and restored. One afternoon, as she sat in the garden watching her children play, Desmond joined her and held her hand. Becky looked at her triplets, then at Chinwe, who was laughing with them. She took a deep breath and whispered,
God is faithful.
the battle is over, the storm had passed, and a new beautiful chapter of their life has begun. Lessons from the story. This story teaches us that not everyone who smiles with you truly rejoices with you. Some people only draw close to enjoy your light, not because they love you, but because they envy the flame that keeps you warm. Betrayal doesn't always come from strangers. It often comes from the ones you open your door to, the ones you trusted without questioning, the ones who call you sister while secretly planting seed of sorrow behind your back. It reminds us that the most dangerous enemy is not the one outside, but the one who dine at the table, wears your clothes and sleep under your roof. That kind of enemy is patient, silent and deadly. Discernment is a shield. Kindness must be guarded. Love is beautiful, but blind trust can be destructive. You may help someone rise, and they may still plan your fall. Yet, God in His mercy always reveals hidden truth to those who seek Him. Through dreams, warnings, or silence, He exposed the marked faces among us. Above all, this story is a reminder that even when betrayal strikes, it doesn't have to break you. It can be a very push that draws you closer to God, sharpens your vision, and helps you protect what matters most. Keep loving, but love wisely. Give, but stay prayerful. Some only want what you have, not who you are. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. Also click the notification bell so you never miss any of our upcoming stories. Feel free to leave a comment below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Your support means everything to me. Until next time, stay safe, stay blessed and keep enjoying great stories from me to you. I love you all. God bless you.